Welcome everybody. So this is the so-called topography of the path, the most challenging, the most important, the most difficult for me to offer and as well as really integrate into my mind. So I've been planning on this course for last couple of weeks, thinking about how to go about this big topic. I want to start out a little bit of a chit chat, if you don't mind. Does anybody know Gampopa's four dharmas? So one line is called "May my mind be one with Dharma." In other words, let my mind become Dharma. That one line. So that's what we want to do here. See if we can make our mind completely one with what we do, Dharma. So this class I've been talking about or writing about, I want to take a different approach from classical approach to this big subject called Lamrim, sometimes translated as a graduate path to the awakening. Just let me tell you a little bit about how I came across this kind of genre, this kind of teachings. When I was young in Japan, I'm still teenagers, I got really fascinated by Dharma, Buddhism. So I tried to read any kind of books related to Dharma at that time, back in 70s or late 60s and 70s. And I found one book about the translation of this Shamatha Vipassana section of Lamrim Chenmo, the exposition of the graduate path awakening. That was quite academic book. That really inspired me. It's blown my mind, Shamatha and Vipassana. Then I thought, if I understand, I can accomplish Shamatha and then accomplish Vipassana, then everything fine. All my suffering and pains disappeared. And I can help everybody around me and all the people. Anyway, that's my starting point in terms of this kind of teaching. Then I realized that I needed to see the entire map. Make a long story short, it brought me to India. I was so inspired by this realization of emptiness. Then in India, first thing I studied is this one, the so-called Lamrim, or the entire map of the teaching, Dharma, Buddhist teachings. Line by line, every day, morning and evening, I visited my kindest Tibetan teacher at that time. So that's how I studied. So really, I invested this kind of teaching emotionally, emotional investment, and there was a spiritual investment. I was very young at that time. So now after 40 years or whatever, you can calculate my age. Now, I never thought I would share this kind of teaching because it's so basic, entire map. So without this, in my mind, there's no path or journey, no matter how advanced practice we do. Always in my mind, we have to contextualize. Where this one fits in this Lamrim theme. Where does this particular practice I'm doing, for example, Cho practice, where does that fit into the entire map? Those things I'm so take it for granted, so to speak. Then somehow I don't know how this came about, this specific course. Maybe Jens suggested or Lamrim Chenmo or something. He mentioned about that. Then it sparked my fire, ignited. Okay, if we do that, then I want to do this way. Try to integrate the entire path into our own life, as well as the Buddhist teaching into this map. Then internalize it. Then come back to this Gampopa's teaching. Make my mind Dharma. Let my mind become Dharma. We're gonna dive into this vast subject. but I don't want to go traditional way in terms of we present traditionally. It takes long time, and also you can read about it. There's lots of literature available, and 5 of this and 10 of that, and all the list. No, that's not what I'm interested in. What I'm interested in is this inquiry in each of you. Be honest. The honest review of one's own life. That's what I'm interested in. Without any guilt or shame or sense of judgment, judging yourself, without those things, but without complacency. That's how you pronounce? Yeah. So that's my chit chat initial presentation.